So welcome, John. So happy to have you here.
Aaron, I am fired up to be here, brother. Thanks for having me.
So, I've been following your podcast and your work for many years now, and it's a real pleasure having you here. And this podcast, my podcast is called Doing Change, and it's all about change and transformation. And I think that your story is a perfect example for, transformation. And, many people want to change something in their life, but they don't. And I'm wondering what was like what made you to go out and change your life? What was the trigger? What, made you leave your corporate job and, do something else?
It was really going back to my days as an officer in the U.S. Army and being deployed to Iraq for 13 months and, seeing a lot of really terrible injuries from my fellow soldiers and plenty of deaths as well. And just realizing how fragile life is, how quick life is, and how it can just be over in a second. And even if you live a full life of 80, 90 years, that's over in a second as well. So why not do exactly what you want to do? Why not take a risk in life? Because what else is there? I mean, you're going to get to the end of the days and you're either going to have a regret for not trying something that you're passionate about, or you're going to have joy for just going down a path that your gut, your heart, your intuition was telling you to do. And at 32 years old, I knew it was time.
So, and you had, you said that this happened when you were deployed in Iraq, but then again, you went back to like real life and, doing what we are expected to do in life and get a job, and you were going that path. And what happened that, during that path that you said to yourself, well, I'm not doing that anymore? Was it honestly a moment or something like that?
It was just a culmination of moments that just added up together of saying, life is short. What are we doing? Let's have no regrets.
I saw in one of your videos that you said that you wanted your freedom. And I'm wondering, what is freedom for you? How do you define freedom?
I define freedom as waking up in the morning and having on your calendar only things that you want to do, that you've decided to do. For me, sometimes that's nothing on my calendar. For sometimes like today, it's 20 things on my calendar, but I've decided and I want to do every one of those things. So for me, freedom is doing what I want, where I want to do it, with whom I want to do it with.
And how like the average person would go out and, gain his freedom back? Because we are being from childhood, we are being taught that there's a specific path that we need to follow, right? We need to study, we need to get a job, we need to work till our pension, we need to pay our bills. It's not common that a person takes a turn to the side and decides on a different path.
Step one is to decide that you want to start down that path. Step two is to start surrounding yourself with the right people, because you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And frankly, some people in your life right now, those people who are listening to this, they are not a great average for you. Right. Some of them are, some of them are not. That's just a reality. I had people that were not a great average to be in my top 5. And when you start to realize that, you start to do things like everybody who's watching and listening to this are doing right now. You're choosing to spend time with myself and with whoever else you're consuming content right now. And guess what? That is allowing you to surround yourself with the right people, even if it's virtually, even if it's just through audio, even if it's just through this video that might have been recorded a day ago, a week ago, a month ago. It doesn't matter. This is how you're spending your time right now. And that's powerful.
Yeah, I totally agree to that. And another thing that I wanted to ask you that, you've been in the, business world for some time now, and every entrepreneur that I know, including myself, had his breaking point, a moment when things, didn't work out as, planned. And even when this thought of giving up, and leaving what you're doing, crossing the mind. Did you had any moment like that the thought of, I'm going to go back or do something else?
All the time, because that's what the human mind does. It gives you fear. and doubt and stress and anxiety. And it's going to do that because you're a human being. And it's those people that can surround themselves with the right people, because then when I'm feeling down, the other 4 people can build me up, can lift me up, can hold me accountable, can remind me why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's the power of having the right people in your life. Because when you're at your low points, which we all go through high points and low points and points in the middle, but when you're going through your low point, if you have 4 other people that you spend your most time with, all of them being like, I told you so, you never should have tried that, you'll give up, you'll quit. But if you have 4 other people saying, listen, this is what happens. You got to have the ups, you got to have the downs. It's a roller coaster. We're here for you. We've experienced it in the past. We got through it. Then you're going to get through it too. And then when that person that helped you has their low moment, and they will, you can be there for them. The power of accountability.
That's very powerful. Is there like one thing, one advice that you would give someone who is watching or hearing us right now, and he wants to do a change in his life? What would you say to him, with all the fears going on and all the doubts going on, and people surrounding that telling him that he should not do anything different?
I'd say go for a long walk and ask yourself this question. What is a problem in this world that I can create the number one solution to? Because if I can create the number one solution to a real problem in this world, I will win. Because you need to remember that people will beat a path to the doorstep of the number one solution to their problem. And they will ignore the second best solution to infinity. So you can't create the second best solution to a problem. You have to create the best solution to their problem. And if you do that, they will find you and you will win. And that can be a micro niche of a problem. Doesn't matter, because this world's a huge place, and the people that need you will find you.
So that's, I think you were talking about that, about your story of creating, entrepreneurs on fire. What was, if you can share, what was the problem that you identified?
That was exactly what it was. Is I said, you know what? As a listener of podcasts, I wish there was a daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. And the show did not exist. There were some great shows out there, but every single one of them was a day, a week, a month. It was not coming out every single day. It was coming out one day a week. It was coming out, one day every 2 weeks. It's coming out one day a month. And I wanted that daily show interviewing entrepreneurs, and it did not exist. So I said, I'm going to be the person that creates that show. And that's why I won.
So how long has it been? How many episodes till today?
Over 3,000 episodes.
Wow. So my podcast is weekly, not daily. And it takes,
but it solves a different problem. It solves a different problem.
Right. But you need, I'm wondering, you need to be very diligent about, having a daily podcast, anything you want to share about how you do that, what makes you.
Yeah. You make the decision. You make the decision to do a daily podcast, and then you do it.
Cool.
Stop trying to complicate things. Stop trying to put barriers up there. Stop trying to be like, oh, there must be some magical formula. No, you decide to do something and you do it. And if you don't, you lose.
Yeah. I hope that people will really get the essence of, it sounds very simplistic, but it's very powerful what you just
said. It is simplistic, and that's why it's powerful. If it's complicated, you won't get it and you'll lose again.
Exactly. And another thing, you just recently published a new book, so congratulations about that.
Thank you.
You want to say some words about that, how this book was created?
Yeah, over the past 10 years, I've interviewed over 3,000 of the world's most successful entrepreneurs. It's been a great journey. I've learned a lot from every one of those interviews of successful entrepreneurs. And it's really just dawned on me it was time to sit down and take those 10 years of interviews, those 3,000 plus conversations with the world's most inspiring, successful, and brilliant entrepreneurs, and create a roadmap. A 17-step roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment. I called the book The Common Path to Uncommon Success. The book was launched in March of 2021. And that book is a step-by-step roadmap for anybody that wants to create financial freedom and fulfillment in their life.
Cool. We'll add also a link to that book on the episode so people could get easy access to that. I was wondering what makes you wake up in the morning? What is the thing that, drives you, motivates you to wake up and do the things that you do?
It's called the ripple effect. It's the fact that I know that when I record an episode that's being listened to by thousands of tens of thousands, occasionally millions of people around the world. And those people may hear just one thing that I say or my guest shares that makes them decide to take their leap and to create value in their world around their expertise. And then they're going to inspire a whole host of individuals who then may go on to do the same exact thing. And that ripple effect, that third, fourth, fifth degree of separation of people doing amazing things in the world because of an interview that I might have done 7 years ago, that gets me up in the morning.
I can relate to that. I have a book that is celebrating his 10th year soon, and I still get every day, notes from people about how it's affected them, and this is one of the most fulfilling things you have. Yeah. What's
the name of the book?
It's called Fulfilling.
Very apt.
What gets you inspired? Where do you get your inspiration from? Or from who?
My listeners, my audience, when they share with me what value they're getting from my show.
Okay. Is there any books that got you, affected your life or inspired you through your path?
So many. I think the book that really just started off for me was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
You say that that's the Hebrew version, but it's
I can tell from the light bulb.
Yeah. It's a great book. I'm studying it constantly. It's
very nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. If you could go back in time, to John just getting out of the army and, and wondering what to do with his life, and give yourself then one advice with what you know today, what would be that advice?
Relax. When you're 20, you think you're having to take over the world in a week. When you're 30, you think you're an adult now, so you've got to do the same thing. When you're 40, you feel like your life's half over and you've got to get going. No, relax. Just take a deep breath. Realize you need to keep it simple. And just remember, if you can create the number one solution to a real problem in this world, you're going to win.
Cool. So John, thank you. I want to thank you. And, if people are hearing that and you want to get to your work and, the things you do, what would be the best way for them to do that?
eofire.com. That's where all the magic happens. Free courses for entrepreneurs. My book's there. And also Entrepreneurs on Fire is a great podcast. You can check it out. And thanks for having me on the show today.
Great. Thank you, John.